I'm going to do this update about flashback nightmares. Victims of violence, rape, traumatic experiences and everyone's different on how you react. And I was helped by a prisoner of war from Vietnam, and he said, Trudy, what you've been through, you're going to experience the rest of your life flashback nightmares, and I'm going to help you and teach you how to cope with them so that you can weather the storm and ride your way out of it, because your brain will make you relive the experience. Well, I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning with flashbacks to brakes failing because of what I went through at the dealer, and I'm not going to name the names because my regular mechanic wasn't there, and I don't know who's responsible. But boy, it sent me reeling for 3 days into hysterics and flashback nightmares, and I'm not even going to deal with that. But I learned to try to find a good memory, and there is a memory of 1968 that came to me, and so I started to look for the pictures. Do I have anything of my Rambler and what happened? And I was in Toronto. I had moved there after 2 rapes, and not going to go there. It's in my biography. But anyway, all of a sudden, the brakes failed, and I shut the engine off. I had pretty good instincts, but I had no idea what was wrong. There was no emergency brake. There was nothing. So I shut the engine off, but I'm in traffic, and I'm on a hill, and I'm on Mount Pleasant Drive, which is 1 street over from Yonge Street. So thank God the traffic is not as heavy as Yonge Street, or I'm sure I would have had a crash. But I couldn't stop the car. And there was, people are parked all along. So anyway, make a long story short, I honked the horn, and I'm flashing lights, and I drove 3 blocks coasting down that hill to Don Verity. Was I ever lucky? A mechanic that I knew. And I swerved the car into a brick wall to stop it. And then I passed out. And when I came to, he was feeding me coffee. Yeah, and I had a lot of blackouts during the 60s because of a lot of reasons. But in extreme stress, I don't know, my brain just, boom, clicks in. I do what I got to do, and then I crash. So anyhow, the next bad experience was in 1990, the K car. It was a brand new piece of junk. They used recycled metal, and the roof had dozens of holes. And I was so mad after a brand new car, and Chrysler wouldn't come good for it. The air conditioning blew, the transmission blew, $22,000 in repairs on a brand new car. Yeah, think about it. That I got so mad, I went to Home Hardware. Yeah, I was living on and off in a cabin in a shack where I'd been left to die back in '86. So anyway, I knew about stovepipe putty, and I slapped it all over the roof. Well, the Canadian military used to come through Collingwood all the time, and I stopped for coffee. Well, they all came in laughing, saying, "Who's got that car out there with that cement all over the roof?" And I said, "That's me." And we broke up laughing, and I said, "And that's not cement, that's stovepipe putty. And you can go to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and 40 below zero, and that stuff don't move." Well, they thought it was a brilliant idea. And I wound up giving a talk to the military about it. Yeah. So you see, that's a good memory. But so as I'm searching in 1968, almost over 100 years of photos from my ancestors, and most shoot this stupid thing. God darn Apple. Anyway, I found a block of pictures that I've managed to save and download because Microsoft destroyed all my pictures, and I don't know what happened to my albums and all my pictures. They're all gone. So I have very little. But here I'm going to do a little photo slide of the pictures. And a lovely man, a photographer, he found me wandering in Toronto in a daze in one of my blackouts, and the year is 1968, because I had no diagnosis of my multiple chemical sensitivities to gas, oil, diesel, fragrances, and mold and whatever, and my Parkinsonism since I'm 6 years old, the brain damage from the sulfur dioxide and the smelter that caused the crippling attacks that I battled since I'm 6 years old. And anyway, he took care of me for months. He went up to Sudbury with me for the summer, and he went to Christmas to my parents to Sudbury. A truly lovely guy. But sad to say, I honestly, he wanted to marry me, and I don't even know what happened to him or why I lost touch, but I did find his photograph, and I have a picture of my 1968 Rambler. And I love that Rambler, actually. It was a great car. The brake failure had to do with my family's negligence. I'm not going to go there, because they did that to me on the K car too. I nearly killed 3 children. But anyway, this is a nice memory, and I'm going to post the photos of that year. It was, that's the way to deal with bad memories. Now, what happened with my car, the Toyota? I had 10 good years at this because of Tyler, the Jeep guy. And like the Rambler, I've got great memories of my Jeep, although I ran into a lot of problems that was my fault. I didn't understand how to handle and take care of a four-wheel drive. And I used the four-wheel drive too long and too much, and I lost the four-wheel drive. And then a genetic mutation took me down, so I'm no longer able to dance or ski or anything. After battling my disease since 6 years old, it's pretty traumatic for me to lose everything. I can't climb stairs, and I can't walk. I have to shuffle. And it's the size of a football. And can't be operated on. But anyway, I'm going to post these pictures because they're really nice memories. And I, aside from all the nightmares, I have some pretty nice memories. So I'm going to share that with you. And I hope you enjoy it. And if you have flashbacks from trauma of any kind, that's what you have to do. You have to search for a good memory and push your brain into that happy memory and a nice memory, and stay there and pull yourself out of the bad one, because they will eventually go back where they belong, into the bottom of your brain. But no, they'll never, never, never go away. That's the thing about being a victim of violence and rape and fraud and trauma. It stays with you for the rest of your life. It never goes away. Okay. And I'm hoping today is a better day. This is the photographer that found me wandering on the streets in Toronto and took care of me for many months. And that is 1968. That's when I was also modeling, and was working with a Montreal manufacturer, and that green outfit. I still have the hat. I loved it. And he took black and white photos of me in that outfit at High Park in Toronto. And he was a lovely man. And I took all those blackouts during the 60s, something awful. And I was horribly treated, brutal torture from the age of 6. And these blackouts were caused by too many, which I have in my biography. But yes, the flashbacks, if I look at myself in a happy memory, I can pull myself out. And more importantly, I look at myself, I thought I was ugly, yeah. And truthfully, I was beautiful. I didn't know that. The abuse, and you grow up with parents that don't love you and people are cruel to you. You don't know that you're worthy and beautiful. But I was, and I loved those outfits. They were a Montreal manufacturer. That's when we had wonderful fashions from Montreal, Quebec. And I would, that was my Rambler. I loved that car. That was a great car. The brake failure was from mechanical negligence, not the car's fault. And that's my Toyota Corolla that caused me all those flashback nightmares. I'm not sure what went wrong to this day, but when I want a happy memory, I go to my Jeep. Although it's finished and I gave it away, Tyler, the Jeep guy, boy, he kept me on the road and I was safe, and I had the best years of my life, and I've got videos of skiing. And so I'm just going to end this with my last happy memory was 1995, when I reversed all the brain damage that I could relearn. Of course, that took me 22 years to be able to write to the professional level that I needed to get media. But the thing is that okra gave me my legs. Now, the genetic tumor took me down and my legs are gone. It's kind of not fair, eh? I've been battling since I'm 6 years old, and at 72 I was magnificent. But anyway, plenty are worse off than me, millions. So I'm not even going to go there. But if you suffer with flashbacks, don't commit suicide. Don't give in to that, because many do. I did save quite a few women who didn't go through 10% of what I went through. But it doesn't matter how much you went through or how little. It's your reaction to it. And there are techniques and methods. Take yourself to water, to a little waterfalls or to a lake. Watch a chipmunk playing in the park. Children. I dress in pink. Do you know that children love pink? And I go shopping in pink, and children come up to me and they give me hugs. One little 6-year-old boy last week, he went like this. He wanted to touch me. He loves pink. You know, that affection and love from a child? Find something good and keep going, and don't give up, because you know what? Then you are not a survivor but a victim, and they get away with it. No. Fight back. Okay, over and out. Love to everybody.